Sorry about that cutout, guys, but I was just gonna say I'm gonna be doing live commentary. This is gonna be a broadcast, but it should be uploaded to YouTube right after this solo. But I'm just gonna give you guys tips and tricks on how I go about approaching solo and trying to take a dub in the game. So usually what I first off like to do is, depending on where the battle bus goes through, so for me it went through this way, I chose the farthest location possible, but I like to choose named locations just because that's going to maximize the amount of loot you can get and the best like loadout in a sense. So that's going to help you out a lot before you get into gunfights and all that. And then also while you're looting, be sure to always get mats. Mats are very important when in gunfights and all that. And then what I also like to do, how I like to set up my guns, are usually a shotgun, AR, SMG, and then some form of healables, and sometimes either a big pot or a medkit depending on what I have. I like to usually just carry the big pots around just because your shield's going to be the first thing that always goes down. So that's going to be the first thing you always want to get back up before you start taking more damage. So that's why I usually carry them, personally. So the thing about landing far from the bus, it's gonna decrease your chances of running into other players and dying right off the start. Which you probably want to have good loot, so when you run into your first encounter, you'll be able to likely come out of that battle. And then also another thing, since we got circle, we won't have to worry about it till later. But I'm going to show you how to approach the storm and where to enter with least risk with players. So you like to enter in the side that's the smallest basically. The side that would have the least players pushing it. Like if I were to enter in the circle from over here, that would be the highest player density over here because of all these big cities, Salty, Paradise, Tilted. They're all going to be pushing from that side, which gives me a higher chance of dying right off the bat. And also about the mats, my personal thing is I always like to have 300 like as bare minimum, just because it's a good number to get you out of any like gunfight while you're fighting them. You'll have enough to get into a build battle and not have to worry about running out so fast. But it's just a good number to keep. And then, if I'm able to. Also, another good thing is, if you're constantly losing gunfights, it's not going to help you if you constantly think negative about losing the gunfight. If you go into a gunfight or try to avoid it, you're constantly gonna think, oh, I can't fight anybody. I want to avoid this player, this player, this player, or I'm gonna die in this build battle. That's not the way to think. Because likely 99% of the time, whoever is thinking like that, in the long run, they're gonna be the one who loses it. So as long as you go into a fight with some type of confidence, I guarantee you're gonna be able to come out of that. Not half times you might not win, but it just gives you a better sense of what to do next time. It lets you know what you did wrong, what you need to do right next time. And what I personally like to do, this could help you guys out too sometimes, is after a game, say you made it like top 5 and then you die. What you could do is go back to the replays and watch your game. So then at that time of your death, you'll know what you did wrong and what you need to fix for next time. So these are tips, they'll help improve your gameplay. And if you're able to take dubs using these tips, that's great, but every player's different. They all have their own play styles. So it's not really like restricted guidelines you guys have to follow, but it should help out a lot. And then with the fences, they're 2 hits and they give you the max amount. That's just the second fastest way of farming wood is fences. And then with the legendary pistol, I know it's legendary, but it just depends on how you use your guns. You have to play with guns you're comfortable with, because if you're playing with guns you don't even like or you're not used to, that's not going to help you out. So you need to be able to find a loadout you're able to stick with, that you're comfortable with, and you know it'll give you the best chance. What I like to do is usually keep my stuff organized. So like I have a mental note while fighting. Every game I have the same exact loadout, so when I'm fighting I can just pull out my shotgun, know where it's at, never forget. And just, it's better for switching, so you don't forget and choke during a mid-battle fight. And then also what I like to do usually is stick to the outer side of the circle, because I'm trying to avoid as much confrontation that's not needed until I actually do run into a player. It helps out getting you farther in the game if you try to avoid the inner side, because that's where the most players are going to be. They're going to head towards the center of the circle so they could be in the next circle, basically. They're thinking ahead of time, which is good and all, but that's going to maximize your chances of running into other players and likely dying. That's just not the way I like to play it. And then also when you run into battles, you always want to have the high ground. That's going to give you the most like advantage over them, just because you could third person peek, and then you could also you could apply pressure while they're trying to fight you because you're so high up. Oh, sorry about that. Because you're so high up, you're able to scope out your area and you don't even have to peek. You could just third person peek the whole time. So say if someone was down there, I'm able to peek them without looking over. Looking over always increases your chances of getting hit in the head, and that's the most damage dealing place. And so now that we got a circle over here, see, I'm pushing this side of the circle just cause I'm the only one who came from risky, and usually a lot of people don't land at whaling or tomato, so most of the people are gonna likely push this side. So that's gonna have a lot of players fighting over there in the high density areas while I'm over here waiting for the next circle, and I won't have to worry about them till later on in the game. And also, it's fine if you go like games on end without getting kills, like as long as you're winning, cause kills they don't matter. Like you get less XP than you do for winning, so in the long run it's all about taking the dub. Well, what I like to do is usually when I'm in the very last circle, I like to know where my guy is, so then I could keep a mental note of just how to go about it. So in every situation I think about what my next step is before I just carelessly do it. So you gotta always have a plan, know what you're doing, know how to get out of it. It's just a process of thinking. That's gonna be your safest bet, and that's gonna be your like strongest ally in this. And then with the killer count, I had to say I always keep eye on it, just cause it shows me how much players are left. So I mean, it's gonna give me